First of all, I would like to, obviously, you have already shared a lot of information with me, but I just always do a short kind of pre-talk also to sort of draw all the energies together to create this sort of shared sacred space, and that I get all the facts right so I can make some notes that that I can use during the hypnotic part of the session.
Sure.
So I just would like, just for the record, so you were born in the Ukraine?
Yes, in the Ukraine, January 17th, 1985.
And as a child, did you already have many, let's say, quantum experiences?
Yes, I had abductions by reptilians from age of 2 to 10. Wow. So I had been scared of the dark, and I'd see this black tunnel appearing in my bedroom, and I would just be taken by kind of like, they had greenish yellow skin. And there was also a man that had gray skin who was very tall. So he would come to pick me up, and he would take me into underground bases, and they would inject nanotechnology into my bloodstream.
Wow. From that young age, my
gosh, so that's
unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the first thing that I had done a QHHT before. Yeah. In 2016, 17, I believe. And that's when we discovered how they were taking me, because they could just open a portal through a wall and come and take you. And then when I was 4, I became mysteriously sick with a virus they couldn't trace. I was paralyzed for almost 3 weeks in the hospital. Wow. So that had to do something with what the reptilians did to me.
That's definitely sounds like it. So it was that part of as a kind of biological experiment? Like, was that part of your sort of ongoing experiments with them? Because they do different things. There is genetics, there is all sorts of, I mean, you probably know more about that than me, but from my limited knowledge, I know that there is different areas of, let's say, intervention that they focus on. And so the biological sort of testing is one of them, and then pure geneticism and the breeding and the hybrid children and all of that.
Yeah, this had nothing to do with breeding. The nanotechnology was inserted into my bloodstream, and it was supposed to have killed my immune system. But
it didn't.
No, it did cause an autoimmune system disorder called Hashimoto's encephalopathy.
That has Hashimoto's is thyroid, so it was something to do with your thyroid?
No, encephalopathy. Yeah, my thyroid function doesn't work correctly, but I'm on medication for it, so it's under control. This is where something was changed in my blood cells and my T cells, and it caused my immune system to overreact and mutate in a way, and it caused the Hashimoto's encephalopathy, which causes cognitive brain issues, it causes vision issues, it causes fatigue, could cause seizures. For me, it caused a febrile fever with paralysis for almost 4 weeks in the hospital when I was 4. But I survived.
Ileana, how were your parents? How was your immediate family sort of dealing with this?
Well, it was unexpected. They were just praying, hoping I'd live and survive through that. So my cognitive developmental skills were slower in terms of math. I had some brain damage, but I adapted, and I found ways to adapt, but I need more human plasma than normal people. So I have plasma treatment injections every week. And that seems to help to keep the encephalopathy under control, so I can function. So that was kind of the first experience that happened to me. And
but were your immediate family aware of your abductions by the reptilians? You never verbalized that? You never communicated that to them?
No, I didn't really know until
how to.
Yeah, as a child, I would just scream and say, I'm afraid of the crows of coming to get me. The dark crows will come to get me.
Wow.
That was the only thing I would say to my parents. And they're like, that's just a bad dream. Don't worry about it. It's not.
Let it.
Let it go. Yeah. So, and I always knew as a child that extraterrestrials existed and that I had extraterrestrial friends. And I would draw blonde people. I would draw crafts, silver crafts, and I would tell my grandma about space. And she's like, wow, this girl is really interesting. She's something otherworldly.
Worldly, yeah, I know that is an understatement. But at least they were not completely discarding it as, as maybe completely taking it off the table as fantasy, or, at least they.
My parents are always open-minded, and I tell them a lot about my experiences now, and they're like, yeah, we believe that happens to you and we believe you. So I've always been encouraged to just be myself and not hide who I am. So
do you have other siblings?
No, I'm an only child.
So you're an only child?
Yes.
Ileana, from your other sessions, QHHT or otherwise, have you already gotten insight and knowledge on what the extent of your particular soul contract is? And then, of course, I'm referring to usually the level of agreement that we have with off-planet species to participate in certain experiments. Have you already gotten insight in that?
Well, I've gotten to know why I came to this Earth at this time period. It was of my own choosing, because one of my soulmates was trapped here 2 million years ago in Atlantis by a gray species called the Matri. So,
never heard of those. Wow,
yeah, very evil species. They put one of my soulmates in stasis, and she was trapped here. I didn't want to incarnate into this human lifetime, but the way things work on this planet, if you want to come and retrieve somebody, you can't just come in as, just come in from off-world and retrieve the person. You have to incarnate in a human lifetime. So I understood that, okay, if I'm coming here and I want to retrieve somebody who's trapped, I need to come in a human form, and then I need to somehow complete my mission and retrieve the person and send the person back home to the Pleiades. So I was able to do that, and she had been, my soulmate is a woman, and she had been trapped under the Amaro Stargate portal in Peru.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Amaro.
No.
Yeah, so it has.
I am aware that there are major portals, both in Colombia, in Peru. I mean, I astral travel to these places, so I'm aware. I just wasn't aware of the particular name, but please do.
Yeah, and it's a huge mountainside with a door carved into it, and it has like a square for a key, a lock, and so basically, whoever vibrates at the frequency can open the door and go under. Well, you could go through the portal, or underneath the portal, there's the Maldek tunnels. There's a huge tunnel system. And that's where my soulmate was trapped in the stasis.
Wow.
I couldn't physically travel to Peru, but I was astral traveling and seeing all of this. And I contacted my other 4 soulmates to come and rescue her, because they're part of the soul group.
And they did?
Yes, they did. She required a lot of plasma as well to revive her, because she has, she's partly Pleiadian, so she has blue blood, so her plasma regenerates. That's why she was alive, but she needed plasma to get her rejuvenated and off planet.
Yeah,
so,
wow.
So
what was the name of that Stargate again?
Amaro.
Amaro. Okay.
Yeah, so I know that this was kind of, it's not a soul contract or a soul agreement. It's just, I needed to come and get her. And this is, I would remember this when I was 29. I had just had a hysterectomy when this started happening to me because I was bleeding out a lot because of the Hashimoto's encephalopathy. So the nanites were causing bleeding a lot. So once the uterus was removed, the nanites were removed. They were in the uterus. So once that was removed, just my memories started activating and information started coming in. Because the nanites did put somewhat of a block on my memory. But once that was gone, everything started coming back. And that's when I astral traveled to Amaru, met Akira, the soulmate, had telepathic communication, and she showed me what happened 2 million years ago during Atlantis, because she came here to really try to stop the downfall of Atlantis. But
clearly didn't succeed.
No, and I told her not to come. I told her, I don't want to go with you. I don't want to go to that planet. I don't want to be purely human, because as a Pleiadian L hybrid, sometimes I had a physical body and sometimes I didn't. I could be pure energy, like manifest a body, then dematerialize, then create it again. So, and I told her I didn't want to be in a fully human state. So if
here you are.
Well, here I am because I came to get her. But this planet has its own rules.
Yeah, clearly. And it's and its own overlords, the reptilian overlords.
Yes.
But so how does this play in to the ongoing experiments, forced experiments and abductions by the reptilian, a particular faction of the reptilian, because they have different colors and different.
Well, that stopped at the age of 10. That stopped at the age of 10. So I'm not being abducted by reptilians.
But do you feel that had, or do you have any knowledge of why that happened? Did you agree to that at some point?
No, I never agreed.
Not at all.
No, I never agreed to that. That was a targeted inversion of this reality. That was not an agreement that I made to be abducted by them and to be inserted with nanotechnology. So that was kind of mainly to kill me, but it didn't kill me. And I survived. I seem to survive weird things and live and continue to live. I have a strong will to survive and live. And I've just made it my mission. I guess I created a mission because my soulmate Akira is free. She's not trapped anymore. But
is she still in a human body? Is she still here?
Yeah. Well, she's not on this planet.
She's not on.
No, she's in the Pleiades. But she has more of a human body than I did, because we're slightly different species. She's also Pleiadian, but she had a full human body. It's just rejuvenation of the body happens quickly. She lives for a long time. So she's still alive. She's well. But my soul mission was to get her off planet and to rescue her, but I still continue to live and I'm here. So I guess I just created my own soul mission to live, thrive, whatever comes my way I experience, and, you know, live my life.
Wow. Yeah, it's such a story. When I started following you on YouTube, you know, I'm always in awe of the scope also of your experiences and your knowledge. And I mean, wow, like what a mission, like seriously. That's
the Earth soul mission that I came here to complete, I did at 29, and there was always more memories. Yeah, and in 2017, I started having a lot of pain in my brain. I started having seems like glitches, like losing my memory, just not being fully aware of what's going on around me. So this is, and I'm psychic, so I had done a lot of hypnosis regression sessions on myself, by myself. I had learned from my shaman teacher how to do that. And when I looked at the root cause of what's causing this pain in my brain, I discovered I had 4 Neurolink implants. And that was created by the Planetary Corporations, the SSP, the Mars faction, one of the factions. And it was leaking nanofiber gold in my brain. So, and I went and I did an MRI.
Could you remove them?
Yeah, I did psychic surgery.
Deactivate, psychic surgery.
I couldn't deactivate
them. No.
There was 4 of them, very complicated technology. A lot of it is ET, so partly etheric. So I did contact a gray species called the Calypsi Raw. And they're partly Pleiadian, apparently, so not completely gray. And they're very good at psychic surgery and healing. And they gave me the blueprints and the template of how to disconnect the nanofibers from the neurons and the axons, because you first have to disconnect the 4 implants for their nanofiber connections to neurons and the axons. Then you have to dissolve them with psychic surgery. Wow. So that took me 3 hours to do. I had a horrible headache afterwards, but the implants were gone. And I had a second MRI, and it showed brain scarring where the implants were. And this is when I went back to my hypnosis notes, and what the heck did I do on Mars as a cybernetics tech? And this is where I looked up plasma therapy and plasma treatments. That this can rejuvenate the brain. This can remove scarring. This can remove brain damage. So I thought to myself, why not try it? It's not like I have anything to lose here. My memory is still not working. My cognition is bad. So I decided to experiment with human plasma. I researched the Earth equivalents of what was in my hypnosis stuff, the description of it, because it was dermal injections on Mars, and they could synthesize the plasma with replicators. So they weren't using human blood products here on Earth.
Just replicating.
Yeah, and they could replicate different antibodies for different things, and you just dermally inject that. And I had the implants on Mars at that time in the cybernetics labs, and they teach you how to do anything you want, basically. They're like, they're the job trainer. The implants give you the information. But they malfunction.
Ileana, what I'm thinking while I'm listening to you is also, and also connecting in with your Pleiadian origin, that frequency. So in any of this, where is your Pleiadian star family? Like, if there is an emergency situation, is it possible that they step in somehow and sort of rescue, help you, heal you?
No,
in
there's
any shape or form?
There's non-interference. They cannot interfere with my soul growth. So if I want help, I can contact my L family, because I'm not just Pleiadian, there's the L race as well. I received I've been on their ship 4 or 5 times, and I received training with energy, how to do energetic healing, how to do various types of different healings. I reached out to the Calypsi Raw. So I have permissions to reach out to whoever I want to ask for help. But I always reach out. There's the non-interference clause. You know, some ET species don't interfere unless you reach out for the help and ask for the help. And when I do ask for the help, they teach, they instruct me, they help me. So I get downloads, but it's free will choice. You have to reach out. So with my L family and Pleiadians, I have to be the one to reach out. So I reached out to my Pleiadian soulmates to get Akira off planet. So it's all about permissions, and it's all about accountability and responsibility with my soul families.
Just a lot of stuff. A lot of levels. So just to sort of go back to the human movie. So I know that your family immigrated to Israel
Yes.
And how long were you in Israel for?
2.5 years. I am 50% Jewish, so but they
From
don't.
your mother or your father's side?
My father.
Okay.
Yeah, my father's side. My mother is 100% Ukrainian. Father is 50% Ukrainian and Jewish. Yeah.
If it's not through the mother, you're never, I know according to Jewish law, you're never fully regarded as being Jewish, because it has to come through the mother, no?
Yeah.
The father is, yeah, okay.
Well, it has to come,
years.
Actually, it has to fully come through the father to be Jewish.
As through the father?
Through the father, yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so, but I don't look fully Jewish. That's the thing. I'm very white and I have blonde hair. So I wasn't fully accepted in Israel. It was tough because I'm white. So
yeah, I understand. And then you moved with your family to Canada?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I did, and I've been here almost 30 years in Canada.
Yeah. So, okay. And do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's nice. It's I found my forever home, so I'm good.
Okay. Okay, that's beautiful. And on what side of, are you on Vancouver side or at the?
I'm in South Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. So it's
British Columbia.
Yeah, it's like 1.5 hours from Vancouver. I'm by the ocean.
So we're very far away. Well, also
Yes.
there's a big time zone. So we already established that you want not an ordinary, let's say, QHHT session or quantum healing, as I call it, but you really want just to focus on all of your questions that you've written to me. Yes, no, I totally understand.
Because I did the ordinary stuff in the first QHHT and other hypnosis sessions. So I'm like, I figured out my health stuff. I figured out my life purpose stuff. Like, so I know all the history of where I come from. Like, I'm still curious about my galactic origins and stuff. So I did put that question number 12.
I remember, yeah.
But I'm more curious about the SSP stuff. That is something I agreed to do, to participate in. So that was of my free will choice.
Wow.
So, and I know a lot about it through hypnosis, but there's always more you can learn.
Yeah, if someone, and especially it's easier, I feel, when someone else is guiding the session. When you're doing it all on your own, yes, it can, it's somehow is more, I think it's more helpful if someone else, because I do a lot of them on my own as well.
Yeah, me too.
So the self-hypnosis. So I completely understand. There was another question that came. So you have already spoken with your higher self, a divine self, as I call it.
Yes.
Janaea.
Her name is Janaea. And Miara. There's two of them.
That's interesting because in my experience, to my knowledge, that what we refer to as higher divine self usually does not have a name.
Oh, they do.
It is just, they do.
They do.
That's the first,
Yes, they do have indeed, because I do a lot of hypnosis sessions with other people as well, and their higher selves always give a name. And sometimes there's more than one, which is interesting to me, because usually there's one, but sometimes there's two. So I have Janaea. She's the first one that came in about 4 years ago, and then Miara recently as well.
Miara?
Yes.
Okay, so higher. You refer to them as higher self?
Well, they refer to them as higher selves of myself. Yeah, and with names.
This is very new to me. In all my 8 years of doing quantum sessions, I have never had an occasion where the higher self had a name, because they are the overriding, divine, total, complete part of you that is beyond gender, beyond dimension. And
well,
no, that's
they do have mostly, if you're female, then your higher self is also female. And if you're male, your higher self is male, but sometimes it could be different actually. So, and they remember
we have very different experiences.
Yeah, and
because the higher self has no gender.
It does. It actually does, because they're parts of our past lives. They know everything about our past lives. So they have that memory engram information. So sometimes they refer to themselves as male or female, and they express that as male or female energy, depending on what body you're in, whatever you're comfortable with. So it just makes it easier for yourself to understand them, to talk to them. Because I recently did a hypnosis session for a man, and his higher self came in and he referred to him as male. The higher self referred to itself as male with a name. And it talked through the person. So it was interesting.
It's very interesting because my experience is quite different, because the higher self never speaks about in first person. It has no gender, and it speaks in terms of we. It speaks through the person in third person. So it would say, if it is my higher self, it speaks to me as she. She needs to do this, or she has done that, or it's a she. And the higher self is genderless.
Oh,
it is the like I have never ever had that been that sounds more to me like a type of an aspect of highest spirit guide, like either in that range they come. We all have one, or we can have many. They have different genders, at least that's how they represent. But divine self, never. It doesn't attribute a gender to itself, and doesn't speak in first person. It would never say I. It always refers to itself as a we, through a plural, like we.
Yeah.
You know.
Janaea is like introduces, I'm your higher self. I am Janaea. And she sounds exactly like me. So it's my own voice that I hear with a slightly different frequency of the higher self aspect. Same with Miara. And when I don't listen to intuition, they come in and help out. Because to self-correct, like if I don't listen to my self-intuition and I'm going to miss out on an opportunity, they'll come in and say, well, you need to listen to this because this is about to happen. And if you miss out on that, it's a missed opportunity. So they sometimes help me out with, if I'm not intuiting, if I'm not listening to my own intuition, they'll step in. They'll step in, and sometimes they also give me tidbits of seeing the future, and we work through it. So they always sound like me. Exactly.
But they always do sound like us.
Exactly.
Because they use our vessel, and they use our auric field, which of course is the energetic sort of where, that's the part of the Akashic that has all of your information. So of course they sound like us. Sometimes there is a slight, sometimes the voice, or there is a slight differentiation, but they sound like us because they are us, but they are more than us, is how I see it. It is interesting because I seem to recall that Dolores Cannon, when in the course, when I studied with her in person, that we learned that higher self is beyond all of that sort of dualism. It's not female, not male. It doesn't have a name. It is us, but it is all of us. It is so they embody also all of your other either physicalized or non-physicalized existences.
Yeah.
They are a sort of a, what you describe, with all due respect, really sounds more like a type of council, a member of your personal council that will often represent as a having a certain gender, because it also, there's usually a reason why they say, oh, I'm female or I'm male. For myself, let me always speak for my own, well, also with my clients, we have guides in any range, in any frequency. So we have what we call in popular terms, we have the guardian angels, we have spirit guides, we have aspects that are, let's say, on a particular council, a council of 3 or a council of 9 or a council of 12. They're light councils, they're councils for particular planets, they're dimensional. And they often present with a name. First of all, they will give you a name, as the name carries a particular frequency. So when we want to align with that frequency and connect with it, it is by just, saying the name, and then we align with the frequency and we are in a sort of direct communication with them. So they will also often explain. So when they say a name, they will say, I am so-and-so. I have been with this person throughout many lifetimes, or only through this lifetime. It differs because we have many different helpers in that sense, and different aspects. And they have different genders depending a little bit on their purpose and their relationship to us in this particular incarnation. That's how I often
Miara and Janaea, I've asked, are you part of my council? Are you my spirit guides? Are you angels? No, I'm your higher self. I'm an aspect of your higher self with a frequency of you, but an overall frequency of the oversoul. So, and they present with names.
When they say I am an aspect of your higher self, that still doesn't mean that, I presume
they say I am your higher self.
And they say
both. Both. And there's other beings I talk to. I have a spirit guide named Alfeel, who's a lion. So I know he's my spirit guide, and he says, I am your spirit guide. And so I know the difference between, like, and I have archangels who I speak to, who are my protectors. Archangel Gabriel and Raphael and Michael. So I do talk to different beings and species. So I know the difference. But these two,
it'll be very interesting to speak to a higher self that has a name and a gender. But I'm always learning new things, so that'll be very interesting to speak to them.
And I've only once spoken to a higher self of a person in hypnosis. Because the human aspect in this lifetime was so resistant to the hypnosis, to letting go, the higher self took over and said, let go, and spoke through him. And this person can channel. So it turned into a bit of a channeling / hypnosis. And I just let it be. I just let it happen, because that's the only way the hypnosis would work for this person, because he couldn't let go of the human monad. So the higher self gave a name, introduced himself, came in, and just started saying all these things about the person. So it's quite interesting, and that's the first time I ever had that happen in hypnosis. Usually people access things subconsciously, but this person couldn't let go of the human mind. Couldn't go.
Yes, that happens quite often.
And his higher over self came in, said, my name is this. I started having a conversation with the human current lifetime and said, let go, helped him to let go, and just facilitated part of the session.
Yes, that has happened in my case as well. Yes, it's not unusual. I always find that that is the sort of magic that happens once you open the portal in a way.
Yeah.
You know, once we connect to that sort of quantum field,
Yeah.
you know, there is a kind of magic where things unfold. And
yeah, but he gave a name and he said, I'm the higher self of the one who's getting the session, and that one is being stubborn and can't let go.
Okay.
So
very interesting.
First time that ever happened, and that was like 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, okay, I feel
I'll
it is
go with the flow.
yeah, I felt that it was the genuine higher self of that person, so it didn't feel like anything creepy coming in, no entity. It felt like that person's higher self, so I just let it be and let it happen.
Okay. Yeah, good, excellent. And there was also, there was healing involved. Did they perform some kind of healing, or?
No, they taught me, the L race and the Pleiadians taught me how to heal with my hands, how to work with energy, how to direct energy. So, and I do healing sessions for people, energy healing.
Yeah.
Remotely.
No, it was more because you very often in the higher self part of the session, the higher self will perform energetic healing. It will guide you through. They will say, we are now healing this part of his body. Like, for instance, if there are, so we do a body scan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the higher self, you ask higher self to guide the body scan, and then they will actually instigate and do the healing. And sometimes also use the facilitator's body. So I'm instructed or I'm guided to place my hands or to do something. So then I'm involved, but it can also just be the higher self to do it. And that's usually also a sign, a very good sign that you're dealing with a higher self, because a negative entity, an attachment, of course, could never do that.
Yeah, and in the QHHT session, the higher self was able to heal the emotional aspects of being traumatized of living on this planet and not having acceptance.
Yeah.
So the higher self was able to heal that. The higher self was not able to heal the genetic mutation of the hemiplegic migraines. It was not able to heal that aspect. Because it's deeply genetic. My mother has it as well. I've dealt with that. I've figured out what that was, how to treat it. So I'm not really concerned about that. It is what it is. So sometimes we have things as part of our human experience, but it was able to heal the emotional trauma and emotional release. So that happened. I felt that healing. And it gave a lot of information about my future as well. Mm-hmm. It said that I would die young, and I almost did 2 years later after that particular hypnosis session, but
you didn't.
Well, I made choices not to. I made choices. I moved somewhere where the climate and environment was all wrong for me, and it almost killed me. And then I made a choice of moving back of where I'm supposed to be. And I learned some very interesting life lessons from that, and who I am and what I'm here and why. So what my higher self had said, it almost came to be, but it didn't, because it was like almost like a warning, really. So, and that often happens with these two higher selves. If I'm on the wrong path, they will just come in and talk to me. We talk to each other telepathically. They're like, well, you are doing this. This is not the optimal for you. Try this, try that. And they give good suggestions, good examples. And I listen to it carefully to see if it resonates with me.
Yeah.
If it's a positive, they're always positive, never nothing negative, never ever nothing negative. They've never given me any negative suggestions. So I know they are my true higher selves, because they always give you good things. They're not supposed to give you bad advice.
No, but it's sometimes they can, this is completely true. It's just that what does happen is sometimes they give guidance for something that sometimes requires a big leap of faith. It requires a very, very big change in someone's life.
Yes.
So sometimes we're perhaps not quite ready to fully integrate the advice they give us or the guidance, you know, and that's of course where your free will comes in. The advice is always from the higher perspective for your highest good. But sometimes, let's say our human part lags a little behind. We're like, I'm not sure I'm really ready for this.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So it's like, you know, we do have a choice in, I would like to think, or how I would like to explain it is how we integrate the guidance. It's not like what they say is law. I mean, it usually comes to pass anyway, because it is but it is like, well, we can, you know, we can choose the pace and we can say, well, maybe not just yet now, but let me work towards it. Or that's a little bit how it is. No,
they're never pushy. They're like, this could be for your optimal health improvements, benefits of other things. Sometimes they say you are a bit stubborn and unreasonable. If you just listened more, you could have more opportunities. And they're like, just listen, use your intuition more so you don't miss out on things. And if I don't listen, they just say, well, somebody's about to call you, you're missing out on this. Then somebody does call, and what they describe exactly actually happens. So if I listen and intuit, I usually could figure it out on my own. But if I'm being stubborn, they just let me know.
No, I get it. I totally get it. This is your first human life?
No, I've had other lifetimes.
You've had other lives. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was why on a soul level you did not want to embody? Is that part of it? No.
This time I didn't want to have this incarnation in this human body in physical form, but I knew I needed to get my soul mate off this planet. So I decided, okay, I'll try this one more time. So I knew of my free will what I was doing and choosing. I knew I don't like human planets that are 3D based, that are controlled. So, because I could go anywhere I wanted as the Pleiadian L body. I could think of it as Star Trek Q. That's the equivalent. You know, Q can go anywhere, omnipotent, everywhere and anywhere. Same type of a thing, except I always knew I didn't want to ever incarnate on this type of a world ever again. So I knew I didn't want just to be in a body where it's harder to work with energy and dissolve. And because we can astral travel, we can energetically leave this body, but we can't dissolve. We can't really take the body and just just dematerialize and go somewhere else, which I could do with the L Pleiadian body. That's what I was used to. And when I go off this planet, I want back what that was. I'm not interested in next incarnation in a human body. That's not my idea of what I want next time around. So I already sort of know that what's next for me after this lifetime is done, whenever that is, wherever. I don't question the whenever, wherever, that's fine with me. What the universe has for me is what the universe has. I go with the flow right now, but I know for next time I don't plan to incarnate like this again.
Right. Okay. But so did you have many lives, or how do I see this?
I've had 2 Atlantean lifetimes on Earth. I've had Native American lifetime. I was a Siberian shaman. I've had lifetimes on Mars, on Venus. I've had many humanoid lifetimes.
Okay.
And I've had a lifetime as a Q being too. And that's the star traveler aspect. For millions of years, I enjoyed that kind of a lifetime. Where it's, energy, where you don't have to have the cycle of life and birth. Right. You just are, and you can create different bodies. You don't forget anything, because you can make yourself look like anything you want. course, I preferred my 16-foot body, which is blue with long blonde blue hair.
Blonde hair.
Yeah, blonde blue. That's the body that L Pleiadian person had.
That is the L Pleiadian. Is it
Yes.
EL? You spell that EL?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the race. That's the name of the race. So that's the body I prefer. That was my natural body shape and form. The original body.
And they're very tall. Yeah.
Yes, 16 feet tall. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very tall.
But because of that Q aspect of manipulating energy and being able to change to look like anyone or just be pure energy, she could manipulate the aspects of the looks.
Yeah.
She could change the body. But she preferred the original shape and form.
Mm-hmm.
That's when she was in a body, that's what she looked like.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. So good to know. Just out of curiosity, so the EL, is that a connection with Egypt, with some of the civilizations? Because the L comes from Egypt. Why we have it as a measurement, and like EL is something from the Kabbalah. It exists in Hebrew as well.
Yeah, I had an Egyptian lifetime. Well, my name is Ileana, actually, Kapolnan. El Ka.
Yeah.
The Ka and the L and the Ka. So soul vibration. Yes. I've had an Egyptian lifetime where I had been an Egyptian priest architect named Calypso. And in Edgar Casey's prophecies, there will be an L, Ka, that will reincarnate and help to open up the Egyptian Akashic record, Hall of Records. I know where that is. It's under the Sphinx.
Yeah, that's what it's been saying. Yeah,
Calypso hid it. He built it, and
they call that the halls of Amanti, I think.
No,
that's not but the Akashic, the etherical, the portal is under the Sphinx.
No, it's the actual Akashic record, the huge 4 rooms. So it's an actual place.
It's a physical place.
It is a physical place with advanced technology, tablets, crystal stuff. There's a lot of stuff that Calypso hid in there because that's the last remnants of the Atlantean stuff. So he built that, and he built many maps, and he even built like little distractors to confuse you, so it's hard to find it in the mazes.
But the right one will sort of get in.
Well, Edgar Casey's prophecy said that El Ka is supposed to open it.
Okay. And do you feel that perhaps you play a part in this particular incarnation?
Well, I told the people who are supposed to go to Egypt where it is, but it's hard to get it. Like, I physically have no desire to open it or discover it. I was the one who built it, so I have no desire to go to Egypt and find it and open it. But I think I'm just supposed to give the knowledge of it, of where it is and what's in there. So I've already done that, and if people want to find it, they can go and look for it. It's not going to be easy for them to get into it because you have to go down under the Sphinx. You have to go through all the mazes to get to the 4 chambers where Calypso built. It's the Egyptian Akashic Hall of Records. It's a physical hall of records. There's one in Peru as well. There's one, there was 4 of them that were built by the last.
And where were the other 2? So
Peru,
Egypt, Peru, somewhere beneath the Himalayas?
Yeah, I think somewhere beneath the Himalayas. I'd really have to look back at that book of Edgar Casey's prophecies because he describes it. I only know what's in the Egyptian Hall of Records because as Calypso, I remember what I put in there.
Okay, excellent, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to focus on your, on your request for this particular session. I'm going to pull up so I have your questions here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to pull them all up so I can have them next to the Zoom.
Sure.
Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna, so what is the Shadow Guard program? Was I involved in this program and how? Then about the abductions, the Planetary Corporations, the SSP. What types of work did you do in the cybernetic labs on lab? How are the holographic medical pods built? Why do I have so much medical information in your brain? Yeah, what was I doing in this? The super soldiers, yeah. Connected to Antarctica, the SSP, the Neurolink implants. When you say the name Neurolink, that immediately seems to connect with me. It seems to trigger something with Elon Musk because he uses this Neurolink.
Spelled differently. Neuro, the ones that I had were Neurolink. So they were etheric / physical technology created by Planetary Corporations with ET help. Neuralink is purely a physical, sort of like a chip with extenders that connect to your neurons and your axons. It's spelled Neuralink. So this is a manifestation of the technology coming to Earth now. So but Neuralink, that technology is 300 years more advanced than Neuralink. So it's not the same.
Okay, excellent. Interesting, very interesting how you, thank you for clearing that up.
Well, I got rid of my Neurolink implants.
Yes,
I don't want them.
Yes, good for you. So the Time Corporation, the Quantum Leap Time Travel Program, Spiritual Origins and Goals. Yes, your final question. Yeah, I think it's all very clear.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot about the origins, but there's always room to know more and to grow.
Yes,
so.
Yeah, very, very true. Wonderful. So if you're ready, then I would like to start with the trance part of the session. Sure. Will you sit or are you going to lay down?
Oh, I'm going to sit because I'm in my office.
Okay, excellent. Can you hold that for about 2 hours? An hour and a half? 2
hours?
Yeah, okay,
oh,
wow,
yes.
Okay, excellent then. Okay, good. And I want you to tell me who or what is standing outside the archway of your pyramid.
It's Jara. She has blue skin, blonde blue hair, very tall, greenish blue eyes.
Excellent. So it is part of your higher self?
No, it's my past lifetime as the being described as the Pleiadian hybrid.
That is who she is. Her name is Najara?
Jara.
Jara, sorry.
Jara.
Excellent. So would you like to invite her inside your pyramid?
Yes.
You may do so. So she may step into the golden pyramid and she may sit or stand in front of you and we welcome her. Welcome, Jara. We are honored. I am honored to meet you here in this form and in this way. Welcome that you have come as a visitor for Ileana. May we ask you some questions?
Yes, of course.
We are honored. Thank you. First of all, why have you facilitated this encounter here today?
So that part of my aspect can learn what she wants to learn.
Yeah.
And the free will and choice that this is happening. That is why this is facilitated and being allowed to happen.
Beautiful. Thank you for clearing that up. So Ileana has a lot of questions concerning her different lifetimes and the different experiences she had in the existence, in the human form as Ileana. You are aware of those?
Well, her name is Ileana. That's the true
Ileana.
name. Ileana
Yes.
is the pseudonym, the spiritual name that she goes by now. It does not matter. It is the same name.
So Ileana is her name. Do I pronounce it correct, Ileana?
Yes, but you can use Ileana. It's just same energy field.
Okay.
Just
thank you. Can I start with the questions?
Of course.
So her first question is, what is the Shadow Guard program? Was she involved in this program, and how?
The Shadow Guard program is an elite force program that trains people on Mars how to be obedient, how to relinquish the freedom aspect of the soul, and to be manipulated in the mind, to be perfect soldiers, to be perfect assets, to be used as weapons in a sense, but with emotional manipulation, not with physical force or abuse, but emotional manipulation, cunning, basically how to indoctrinate the human soul and the will and the body into a SSP soldier or an asset. The Shadow Guard program facilitates this emotional mind control manipulation aspects. It doesn't really break the free will of the soul. It just coerces the free will aspect for a time. And Ileana resisted this training. She resisted becoming part of the Shadow Guard. She did not want to embrace the teachings. She did not want the soul will aspect to be broken the way others were. She wanted to keep her self-will and self-control and free will choice. So there was resistance to this training, to this breaking of the mind and the manipulation. Her mind was never broken the way this program wanted her to be, the way the trainers wanted. It was purely mainly male trainers. And this Shadow Guard program exists in some kind of a underground Mars facility with solid steel walls, silver walls, a lot of different rooms, very totalitarian-like environments. This is a training facility that's why it looks so stark. There's chairs, there's seating arrangements, but it's like a military facility, but for manipulating the mind and the soul, for coercion and perversion. This is what the program is designed to do, to make perfect soldiers who don't tap into emotion anymore, who are emotionally neutral. That is the purpose of the program.
Yes. Okay, that is very clear. Thank you. Is it correct to assume that, or to think that this program was masterminded by some factions of the Reptilians? Because it sounds like a very reptilian mindset, quite literally.
No, it has nothing to do with Reptilians. This is Planetary Corporations, human factions of the secret space program called Planetary Corporations. Yeah. They want to neutralize emotion, so their assets are like perfect machines with some free will choice and autonomy to perform their jobs, but do not emotionally overreact or underreact. This is a military facility, and Planetary Corporations is run like a military conglomerate, if you will.
Okay. Yes, thank you for clearing that up. So the second question, why was she abducted to work in the bioengineering lab in Area 51?
She was abducted to work in S1 because she has a lot of genetics experience from the cybernetics labs. She knows how to change gene sequences, genomics, DNA. She can manipulate any DNA energetically or physically or medically. So she was abducted in Area 51 after her secret space program service was completed to make ET human hybrids, to make them into perfection so that they look completely humanoid and can blend in with human society, infiltrate human society, and build a better race of humanoids. That was her true purpose, to improve on the techniques so there's no genetic flaws. So the beings she created had a lot of different ET genetics, but without the features of the physical genetic forms imprinting on themselves. So to really remove the aspects of the ET physical features, just keep their traits and characteristics to look like humans, to perfect that kind of techniques of perfect ET human hybrids that can fit into Earth society and create a stronger, far better race of human hybrids, human ET hybrids on this planet. As the ones that are in Area 51, they have a lot, they're human scientists working there. Some of them have no idea what they're really doing. There's influence of the reptilians and the greys indirectly. In S1, they're not physically present, but their ideologies are. Because some of these greys and reptilians cannot walk in physicality as themselves. So they try to imbue parts of their genetics into these ET human hybrids to perfect the ability to have some aspects of their genetics as part of these hybrids, to make them stronger, to make them emotionally balanced and not prone to human lapses in judgment and emotion. So this is what Ileana was working on partially, of inserting those genetics into those ET human hybrids. She knows a lot about DNA, genomics, manipulation of biology, virology, human energy. So this is why she was placed there, to contribute to these scientists and to the improvements of these ET human hybrids.
Wow, yes, that is very fascinating. Wow. The next question, what is Planetary Corporations and why did they enlist Ileana as an SSP asset to do a 60 and back? What types of work did she do for the secret space programs on the moon and on Mars?
Planetary Corporations is a military type of an institution. It's a huge organization. It owns half of Mars. It has many bases and colonies, some on the surface, many underground. It seeks the evolution of technology. It seeks the advancement of human biology to go beyond human perception, so they can implant, they can take human souls out of the body, implant them into clones, biological human cyborgs, which look like humans, act like humans. They have human organs, but they have cybernetic components with nanotechnology as part of them, which makes them stronger, smarter, makes them more bigger and healthier. So Planetary Corporations is about the evolution of human existence on other planets to be able to make stronger, bigger humans, and to be able to transfer human souls into the various bodies that they make.
Who oversees that?
Now
The
there's
Planetary Corporations.
It's humans.
Mm-hmm.
It's humans that branched off from Earth into parts of the US government, parts of US military, Army, Navy. They branched off from Earth during the 1950s and 60s, first to the moon, then to Mars, building their bases and colonies. Partially they oversee it, but there's Nordic involvement and reptilian insectoid hybrids as well. They contribute to these programs, to Planetary Corporations, working with these off-world humans that now have their own colonies on the moon and Mars. They have very large stronghold. They're one of the biggest conglomerates, if you will, of the SSP factions, because they create the various biological human beings, human biological cyborgs, avatars, clones, and they can transfer the human soul into various different body states of existence. They also have advanced technologies in terms of crafts, ships, energy crafts as well. Mm-hmm. So they are into a lot of different things that they make on the basis, and then their secret laboratories deeper under the basis on Mars. And Ileana was put into the 60 and back because she has had prior lifetimes as extraterrestrials, where she has knowledge of advanced technologies beyond the speed of light crafts, regeneration of the human body, working with blood, cells, plasma, genetics from previous lifetimes, especially as geneticists in Atlantis. This is the information that the Planetary Corp generals were looking for, specifically to place her in medical work, where these cybernetic labs come in place to work on genetics, to work on manipulating blood, manipulating different systems of the body to improve them, to create hybrids as well, ET human hybrids that serve the purposes of the Nordics and the reptilian insectoids, to make them look more human, to blend in, to work with these SSP assets on Mars so they feel comfortable looking at a humanoid body. But it is truly ET, and even that biological appearances, she would manipulate biology to make ETs look like humans and to make humans look like ETs, and to be able to reverse this back and forth within 30 minutes to an hour's time span, where your total human biology changes to extraterrestrial and then back again with their physical traits and characteristics from human to ET and from ET to human back. That is something she specialized in quite a bit and focused on, as this has to do with manipulating the blood of other beings and genetics. That was her specialty. And so Planetary Corporations, the generals, the scientists in these labs, they pulled memories out of her previous lifetimes as extraterrestrials with having these abilities, and activated with the Neurolink implants being implanted in her brain, activated those abilities and those memories for her to perform these various actions as an SSP asset to further endeavor their studies and advancements in human evolution and energetic technologies as well.
So am I understanding correctly that this reversal, or first of all, the transference of the soul from the human body into another living body, whether completely organic or only partly organic, they've perfected this technology during the 50s? This is how long they've been able to do this?
They've been able to do this since the 1980s.
Since the 1980s, wow.
They have far more advanced technology that goes 300 years more advanced than what we have here on Earth. That's what they have on Mars and these cybernetic labs and in the Mars bases.
Yeah.
At first, they weren't able to hold the soul out of the body, so they developed energetic containers to contain the soul and then transfer it to either other biological bodies or to what they create as biological human cyborgs, augmented with nanotechnology. Still human, not cyborgs as what humans think of everything replaced with cybernetics. No, they're still human, but with some nanotechnology attached in the body. Like Neurolink implants, for example, that's a cyborg technology, that's nanotechnology. So in the 1980s, they were able to create these energetic vessels, if you will, spherical vessel containers to hold the soul, because the soul is electrical. The soul has an electrical charge component when it's transferred from the physical body, which stays in containment field, like a stasis pod or regeneration tank. So the body is not killed, it's preserved. So if the cybernetics technicians want to return the soul back into its original body from a different container vessel, they can. Or they could transfer the soul permanently into a different body. So that technology was perfected in the 1980s on Mars.
And what is the larger perspective? What is the larger plan for this? What is the objective they want to, they're aiming to manifest with this whole soul reversal? Are they going to build human cyborg armies of, using human bodies with nanotechnology? What is this? What is the purpose of this?
They've already built their super soldiers. They have no desire to do this to other humans on Earth. They have the desire to keep their program secret to what advancements they've made with this technology, with soul transference. They have no desire to give this to Earth, to humans. They want to keep it to themselves and continue the experiments in evolving these technologies of human soul transference, and to continue to improve the programs of creating super soldiers or biologically advanced beings with nanotechnology. They just want to keep that to themselves and to allow these beings to travel in the stars, colonize other worlds, and build on planetary corporations and colonies and civilizations. It has nothing to do with Earth and humans anymore. They don't even wish this to be disclosed.
Wow. So I think the next question was already what types of work did Ileana do in the cybernetics lab on Mars when she worked there as a cybernetics technician? I think we covered that, or not?
Somewhat, yes.
Somewhat. Please elaborate.
So when she was placed to work in these cybernetics labs, that's when the Neurolink implants, the 4 etheric, this technology is Nordic. The etheric part of these implants is Nordic. Planetary Corporations is the part where the nanofiber technology attaches to the neurons and the axons. That's purely Planetary Corporation. And the implants themselves, the energy core that opens up within the brain, activating the 4 etheric aspects of the Neurolink implants, that's Nordic technology. The nanofiber connections connecting to the neurons and the axons to fully connect the implants with the brain, that is human Planetary Corporations Mars technologies that were created in the cybernetics labs. So this implant, 4 implants were a blend of Nordic, human, Mars technology created in the cybernetics labs on Mars. So this is the origins of those implants, because she was curious of the origins, I believe. So that was done in the cybernetics labs. The implants were given to her through dermal injection that traveled through the bloodstream to through the brain barrier, went into the brain, opened up on the left side, activated the energetic core, connected the nanofiber gold extenders, if you will, to the neurons and the axons, and that is what fully turned on the implants. And she had the implants to be able to manipulate information, have access to large streams of learning data, medical, any type of data needed to do the job, to work in these cybernetics labs. The data would be instantly transferred to her brain and teach her how to be a cybernetics technician, to work in these medical facilities, and to teach her anything she needed for that particular job of creating biological human cyborgs, biological drug serums to correct her own immune system and autoimmune disorder, because Mars is a harsh climate. So there are different antibodies with these biological drug serums that she had synthesized and inject herself with dermally to literally reset her immune system. That's part of why she worked in these labs, to have access to the drug serums. And again, she had many different knowledge bases from past lifetimes that helped her in the cybernetics labs. These implants would access those memories of the past lives. First, it was done through the memory engram stations before she was implanted with the Neurolink implants. But it wasn't the implants, since they were deep in her brain, they could access more memories than the memory engram stations. So it would be instant downloads of that past life information through the implants. And this is what helped her to do that job, to achieve anything she wanted in that work. She worked in 7 of these labs, and she would go to the different bases and rotate. So some labs were doing genetics experiments with ET human hybrids and changing biology. Some were creating the regeneration tanks and what is called the holographic medical pods. And this is regeneration technologies to regrow limbs, to fix trauma, remove scarring, heal trauma, memory wipes. Some of the labs were doing that. Other labs were doing the biological drug serums, building the biological human cyborgs. So many of these labs had different purposes. All of this work wasn't done in just one lab. There were different sections to make sure that none of these projects would cross-contaminate each other, to keep these projects separate. That's why they were in the different labs. So nobody could contaminate any of the experiments or the projects they were working on, and couldn't share the data between themselves. So that's why she was rotated to work in the different 7 labs to do this job.
Jara, in what kind of form was Ileana doing this? In a human form?
Yes, she was in her human body.
In her human body? Okay.
Yes, she would be taken off planet through the time travel technology. She would be beamed off from Earth. And time and space does not matter when time travel technology exists. Anything can be bent in terms of energy and frequency. This is why this is called the quantum leap time travel, because it's such seamless technology. It could literally change energy. Time and space does not matter. It is the same. They can beam out a person from Earth to Mars, and from Mars to Earth again within less than a second. And it's the soul, it's both mind and physical matter transference. Both the soul and the body go together, and they realign perfectly when they are beamed to Mars.
Yeah, when they beam.
Yes.
And from when you say she was beamed from Earth to Mars, is from which location on Earth do they do this? Where are the bases where they do that?
They do this from Mars directly. This is not on Earth. They do it from Mars.
They do it from Mars.
They track the human SSP assets by their energy frequency vibration. So this quantum technology can just track the human vibration, because every human has a specific energy frequency that's uniquely theirs. So they could track her by her frequency and just beam her out through that frequency. It's quite advanced technology, and it's not big technology. It's a very small unit. Wow. You press a button. It's very energetic in itself already. So it's like a little silver disc that's on a stand of some sort. They press the button, and the human soul and the body is tracked through the energy frequency. They're beamed out from their home or wherever they are to the Planetary Corporations Mars base or the lab, cybernetics lab. And it's easy transference of the body and the soul.
Wow, that's very intriguing. Thank you for that. So next question is, how are the holographic medical pods built, and what type of energy powers them?
The holographic medical pods are sometimes built with silver metal alloys as the stand, and the top of it is prismatic. This is part of the Nordic technologies. It looks like glass, but it's not. It's a prismatic type of a technology. So it is like a glass shield, yet not. And sometimes these medical holographic pods have more of a holographic component than a physical component to its function. There's many different forms of them. The ones she was working with, Ileana, was mainly, some of it was physical technology, but mostly was holographic interfaces. And that is how these pods, holographic medical pods, are made. And it's plasma energy that powers them completely. And sometimes there's other energy fields that power it that are of Nordic vibration, crystalline energy as well, not just plasma fields. And it has these holographic medical pods have different purposes. Some just regenerate human body parts. Some do memory wipes. Some can do both. Some can even make people younger, working on the telomeres.
So I've heard. I've heard that in relation to the crystal beds, that part of their function or capacity is to rejuvenate, so that they can go up to 20 years, let's say, of the actual physical age of the human body.
It can go up to 100, 300,
wow,
depending on the species.
I
the crystalline technology really, when combined with the holographic aspects, can reverse any disease, any aging process, can fix any of that. It could even bring back the template of the human body back to the ET templates of past lifetimes. Can transform the human template back to ET lifetimes, to that original template. That takes more time to do, but it can be done with the crystalline holographic medical pods.
And how long? So if I speak from a purely human perspective, as my curiosity is, sort of sparked by my human perspective at the moment. So any of these, what for us now are advanced reversals, as in, let's talk about the age reversal. So a human, let's say 80 to 100 years is an average, still average human age. How long would it take for an age reversal to take 20 or 30 years off a human age? Is it instantly, or does it take a half an hour, or how long time-wise?
For 30 years, it's about a week. It takes a week to do this in the crystalline pod. The human body remains in the plasma stasis field, and the crystalline technology field works on the human body template, the organs, the telomeres, everywhere on the body. To take off 30 years from a human body age, say it takes a week to do this with the crystalline technology combined with the plasma. If you want to take off 100 years, that is purely crystalline technology without the plasma. So it has,
in that week, during that week, in what kind of stasis are you?
Plasma stasis.
You're in a plasma stasis.
You float in the pod in a plasma stasis field while the crystalline technology does its work on the human template of the body to reverse the aging process. When it's 100 years, the body doesn't float in this plasma stasis. It floats in some kind of a greenish blue gel in the pod. It's a different process.
Wow.
All the crystalline technology reverses the aging process if you want to take 100 years off a human body, and it takes about a month to do this in the pod, for the body to be in the pod in this gel-like liquid, if you would call it.
Yes, I understand. Thank you. That's so interesting. And just from a purely medical perspective, like to advance human medical capabilities, because there is so much talk about the med beds at the moment. Well, there has been for the last 5-6 years through certain channels anyway. From your perspective in this now moment, do you see that these so-called med beds and this crystalline and perhaps even this holographic technology is going to become operational and functional on Earth anytime soon?
No, that is not coming to Earth. There has been a lot of disinformation.
Yeah.
And using Ileana's name for false ideologies without her permission. Her name associated, just because she talked about these subjects doesn't mean she's associated with building them or having access to them. So her name has been used in the wrong places, in the wrong internet forums. And this frustrates her to no end, but she cannot do anything about it. That is fine. No, the Planetary Corporations are mostly the sole creators of these technologies, holographic medical pods, crystalline pods. They have no desire to release this technology to humanity at all on Earth. And their plan, which Ileana knows about, and she fully disclosed, does not include giving this technology to humans until 2100 in what is your Earth cycles. That is approximate date when this technology comes out to Earth humans from Planetary Corporations from Mars. At this time, they have no plans of releasing this technology. There's a lot of disinformation campaigns going on from people who want to make money off of this technology on Earth and who have no access to it yet, create falsehoods of disinformation campaigns for you humans to give you false hope of something that you don't even have access to.
That's really a bit sad for me, because there was indeed also, to my knowledge, there was talk, there was information that the that within certain departments of the American military, they were already using prototypes of the medbats, the crystalline technology, and that perhaps in the next 2 or 3 years, these medbats would become available to the public.
That is a falsehood.
So this is not true.
This is not true at all.
Okay.
This technology is again close to 300 years in advancement for what planetary corporations gained from the Nordics and from other hybrid species like reptilians and sectoids, which are not part of the Draco at all. They don't serve the Draco. So, but these planetary corporations has a strong hold on this technology and protecting it. So if humans try to get access to it, planetary corporations is not above killing humans to keep this technology secret. So it's quite dangerous for humans even attempting to get access to this technology. It's not easy to smuggle it off Mars to Earth. Some military factions have smuggled the technology, but if they try to release it, if the US tries to release this, planetary corporations will take them out and remove them. Whether alive or dead does not really matter. This technology will not be released to the public anytime soon. And if they try, there will be severe consequences.
Wow. Okay, well, that means that in my lifetime, we will not see the physicality of this very advanced technology being used, unfortunately.
Well, you will see other things like the biological drug serums, curing asthma, curing certain types of cancers, brain cancers, Alzheimer's. Biological drug serums are planetary corporation technology that they're phasing in on Earth slowly. So you will see that. It does have limits on it, but that is what they are planning to release to humans in the near future, 2030s, 2040s. That is acceptable for them to release, and being able to cure certain types of disorders, but not others. Again, limited release capacity.
Okay. Thank you for including that.
Mm-hmm.
So the next question. So why does Ileana have so much medical information in her brain about genetic engineering? And who gave her this information? What is the purpose of having that information in her current lifetime?
Well, the medical information about genetics, biology, human body, ET bodies, that comes from those past lifetime memories that were extracted by Planetary Corp through the memory engram stations, and then further extracted more through the Neurolink implants. And she has this medical information. It was to help her to work in the cybernetics labs and to also, at one point, access those memories to improve her own human health and body, because she knew that when she was released from the 60 and back work that she did in the for planetary corporations, when she would be sent back through the quantum leap time travel technology, when she would be sent back to live her normal human life, that all those memories would be erased. So she reprogrammed the Neurolink implants to have access, to have a backdoor, if you will, frequency through the implants, to reassemble that medical information to help herself work on her human body, because she knew that once she was out of the program, she would not have access to the biological drug serums of the weekly and sometimes daily infusions in the cybernetics labs. So she put in a programming to the Neuralink implants to have access to that specific medical information from her past lives as ETs, what she did in the cybernetics labs, and to continue to download medical information from the cybernetics lab's databases into her implants and put it into the different compartments of her human brain, then adapt that information in terms of what's humanly available in equivalent medical technologies here on Earth, and apply that on herself and self-biological experiments that she was willing to do on herself, like plasma treatments. But that was the sole purpose of those medical memories and medical information being retained.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. What was she doing in the super soldier labs that are located under Antarctica?
She was a visitor inspecting one of the labs from which an ET human hybrid had escaped. This was the last mission that she was sent on by Planetary Corporations. Antarctica was the last mission, really. She was sent to inspect the lab to see what they were working on. They were doing more genetics than they were supposed to. They were creating more powerful ET human hybrid soldiers. So they were making more advancements than they should have. And that particular lab is called SciAx. It's an umbrella of Planetary Corporations. It was given far too much free will choice in the parameters of what it was creating. So she was sent in to have a look of the being that had escaped from the stasis, regeneration stasis, regen tank, if you will, and what modifications of genetics were made to it that made it stronger than it should have been, and to curtail SciAx's activities and them not creating too genetically advanced super soldiers, as they had gained access to genetics from the Greys, and they weren't supposed to work with the Greys. This is supposed to be purely Planetary Corporations work, but they worked with the Greys, and it created a splinter of technologies that aren't supposed to exist in genetic manipulation. Planetary Corporations is responsible for the super soldiers mainly, and genetics and genetic hybrids. So SciAx was curtailed in its activities, and the genetic projects were taken away. The extracurricular genetic projects they were doing were taken away from them. And Ileana's job was to make sure that that stopped, and she stopped that and took away the genetic experiments that they weren't supposed to have access to. That is why she was in that lab deep underground. It's very cold. It's under the ice, almost near some type of water. It is towards the bottom part of the Antarctica, the lower section.
What makes me curious is, does this tie in with some of the most recent sort of highlighting of Antarctica? Because within certain channels, there's been a lot of activity seen around Antarctica, and people within, let's say, the wider disclosure community were hoping and expecting that some news would come from this, from that region. What is really going on there, and why is Antarctica so important? I'm aware that there is reptilian bases.
Yes, and those are being bombarded heavily right now and taken out.
That is happening, right?
That is happening, as well as their Nazi collaborators. They're being bombarded with energy frequency weapons to hurt their soul energy, even. It hurts their brains. So it's not like direct bombardment of their bases, it's bombardment on their brains, which scrambles sometimes higher brain capacity and neutralizes their aggression factors and reprograms their brains to flee the bases, to go through there's 5 portals in Antarctica. They're fleeing these Nazi abominations and their reptilian, some of them are fully reptilian, some are reptilian human hybrids. They're fleeing through the portals because of this energetic brain bombardment. Their bases are intact, but they themselves, energy-wise, are different and reprogrammed. So this is causing them to flee through the portals and leave. And so it leaves the human maintenance staff and other human workers to literally be evacuated, to be sent to McMurdo base, as you call it, to leave by the boats, because they're human staff that were under mind control, most of them. Yeah. So now that their overlords or their commanders are no longer in charge, it's time for the others to leave.
And where are they taking that human staff?
They're taken back to their own countries of origins, mostly to Germany, Switzerland, mostly European countries. They're taken back by the boats. Yes.
That was because of the German Nazi origins of this particular base?
There was 10 bases, actually.
10 bases.
Yes, in Antarctica, and all of those bases. They want Earth Defense Force wants all of these off the bases. The Reptilians, the Nazis, they want them off the bases, for the bases to be cleaned out and for the bases to be inert and no longer active. That is what's in progress right now. So that is what is being used with the energy weapons on the minds of these warped beings to get them to leave and vacate the premises, so to speak. And to answer your other question, what makes Antarctica so special? There are ancient Atlantean technologies, because there are Atlantean bases, or what this human soul of Ileana calls outposts. And there's ancient technology there. Some of this allows, when you sit in the technology, it's like looks like a chair of some sort, like a rock formation. When you sit in it, someone who is vibrationally attuned to the frequencies of that ancient technology, they have the genetic coding to activate it. They could sit in it. They could see the future, the past. They could teleport anywhere on the planet or off-world even. So this technology has many different applications, and it has ancient language symbols that some humans can read who've had past lifetimes connected to the Atlantean technology. Ileana has lived past lives in Atlantis, so she has the genetic coding to interact with the technology, to activate it, deactivate it, study it. That's why she was sent into these outposts in the first place before she was sent to that lab to gather intelligence information on the technology in these Atlantean outposts. And there's about 20 of them in Antarctica, some on the surface of Antarctica, mostly under the ice in the cavern systems, because there's mountains.
Yeah, on the ocean floor.
No, under the ice sheets.
Under the ice sheets.
There's land masses in Antarctica under the ice sheets. That is where most of these Atlantean outposts are. Some of them are in the mountain ranges of Antarctica. The SciAx lab, that's under the ice floor, close to the ocean mass. Very deep underwater too.
was it always frozen over? Wasn't it different in Atlantean times?
In Atlantean times, it was very tropical and warm.
Yeah, exactly.
It was not frozen. What caused the freezing aspect? It was like something between a comet and an asteroid that the Reptilians sent that literally shifted the Earth poles in different positions, and it shifted Antarctica the most. This is what created the Ice Age.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Very, very insightful. So why was she sent? Well, you've already sort of said something about it, but I'll read the question anyway. Why was she sent to the by the SSP to Antarctica, and did she discover ancient Atlantean technologies there in the Atlantean outposts, and what did she do with those technologies? I think.
Yes, she was specifically sent to study the Atlantean outposts because they discovered her memories of being in Atlantis.
Yeah.
2 to 3 million years ago on Earth. So Planetary Corporations had access to those memories through the memory engram stations. And those outposts are still standing. There's no Atlantean beings there, but the technology can be activated. So they sent her to study the technology, to catalog it, to use it, and see if she could transport herself to different locations while sitting in this chair. I guess portal chair, if you will. We'll call it a portal chair. She was able to transfer herself to different locations on Earth and to see past future events. She was able to do this, yes, through this portal chair, as the energies of that frequency of that technology is connected to her own genetic coding. So she was able to use the technology, study it. She was able to read the symbols of the technology and work with that. That's a form of holographic advanced technology, part of this Atlantean technology, if you will. So she was able to interface with those symbols and read the coding in it. And it has a lot of information on world creation, world adaptability, creating different beings, creating universes, a lot of biology information, planets, how you create planets, how you destroy planets, a lot of different information. So that's why she was sent to Antarctica to do this. And it's the most coldest environment she's ever been in. It's very uncomfortable. And she had something to do with laser swords to protect her from the aggressive reptilian beings there, because in certain portions of Antarctica, standard firearm weapons or even energetic weapons like plasma weapons don't work well. The electrical fields of Antarctica interfere, something to do with the poles alignment, interfere with energy vibration of physical weapons. And yet the laser swords are different from plasma technology, and the laser swords are able to cut through the reptilians and to stop them. So it allowed her to protect herself with these laser swords or knives from the reptilians, as they are the enemy. And she had to stop them from entering. They cannot enter these Atlantean outposts. They're not coded genetically, but they could still lurk in the perimeter of where the outposts are. So she was to stop them from lurking on the perimeters with a laser sword.
I understand. Very interesting. So the next question, what were the Neurolink implants that had been in Ileana's brain? How were they made, and what was their function for her having them? Also, who created the Neurolink implants, humans or ETs?
Both humans and ETs. The Nordics created the energy core that activates these Neurolink implants, and the 4 implants themselves, it has coded symbols. That's their technology. The Nordics working with Planetary Corporations on their bases on Mars. And the Neurolink fiber connectors that connect to the axons and the neurons in the human brain, that network grid was created by the Mars Planetary Corporation scientists working in these cybernetics labs. And these are scientists that were born, they were originally from Earth, from previous generations of humans, but they're now 3rd generation Mars colonists. They're the ones that created the neuronal system of these neurofiber connectors that connect to the implants and then to the neurons and the axons. And the reason why Ileana had these implants in her brain was to improve brain function, cognition, to improve memory retention, to give her beyond photographic memory, beyond idiotic memory, to give her perfect memory capacity. There's no limit to what these implants could do. There's no limitation of brain function expansion. She had no limitation. They were to allow her to access her past life memories, to have access to advanced information about advanced technology, genetics, creating energetic ships, using crystalline technology, creating biological beings that are more advanced, using ET human genetics, virtually anything that could help her in that job working in the cybernetics labs. Those implants could go and gain access to previous past life memories, different beings, to incorporate that information into her work in the cybernetics labs. That was the main purpose, to also download information on how things worked in these labs so she could actually do the core job of being a cybernetics technician. So it's instant training where you don't need human trainers or human teachers. The implants are the teachers because they upload and download vast amounts of information instantly into the neuronal core of the implants, and then that gets transferred throughout the different brain compartments, and the information is instantly learned and retained by the human brain, and the SSP asset could do the job easily through that kind of training. So that's the main purpose of these Neurolink implants and what they do. And it's brain enhancement, basically, to improve the mind, to improve the intelligence, to improve brain capacity, to make super fast workers.
Yeah,
people.
Overall performance enhancing, I would say. Also, we could add. Yeah. Sort of superhuman, sort of a superpower.
Yes, it's a brain power. And there's many different types of implants. Some increase speed, some increase agility, strength, some improve brain capacity. For her, the ones that she had, it was to improve brain capacity, telepathy as well, psychic ability, and quick, fast brain processing of memory and information gathering, information intelligence, to quickly collate everything into its proper compartments and utilize that information as needed in quick facets. So her implants were specifically for the brain and nothing else, really.
Okay.
But there's other nanotechnology implants that could be for other parts of the body enhancement as well, that Planetary Corporations creates and puts in human bodies.
And is since this is also related or connected to the Planetary Corporation, they also have no interest in sort of allowing this to be disclosed and used for human experimenting?
Not until 2050.
Yeah, exactly. So
this is not
okay.
the what is called Neurolink Implants. It's a prototype of what humans have been able to create, but it's not Neurolink implants, not what Planetary Corporations has at this time. So it's a prototype. Neurolink is a different prototype. Again, Neurolink implants are technology that is more advanced 300 years than Neuralink. So these are similar technologies, but very different in functionality. So Neuralink might actually fry the brain once it's tested on human brains. It's not that safe technology. It's not that advanced yet.
Oh, wow.
Neuralink implants don't fry the brain as long as the frequencies are properly attuned and calibrated. Ileana's implants had been there for a long time. The frequencies were failing and leaking nanogold particles. And she did not want to go back to the cybernetic labs to recalibrate, to have them recalibrated.
Graded.
Yes, because that would put her back into slavery and access to planetary corporations again. She did not want this, so she chose a different path of complete removal of these implants.
Yeah, as she already shared with me in the pre-talk to this session. Thank you for elaborating on that. The next question, what is the Time Corporation and how was Ileana involved in that?
Time Corporation is an overall program that is responsible for making sure that there's no time incursions in this universe, the known universe that we are living in. It is humans, it is extraterrestrials working together to manage the time technology. They provide the quantum leap time travel to Planetary Corp and other factions of the secret space programs, Earth Defense Force, Mars Defense Force, and other programs. Shadow Guard is not given access to time travel technologies, and Time Corp really manages the technology, so there's no time travel incursions. The secret space programs, specifically Planetary Corporations, are only allowed to use the quantum leap time travel technology for transporting in and out of SSP assets from Mars to Earth, from Earth to Mars, and other planets in our locality, in our solar system, but they're not allowed to time travel to the past or the future or the near future. So that technology is buffered for only smooth timeline teleportation between planets, but not to really time travel. Quantum leap is smooth timeline travel for teleportation. It has a small aspect of time travel, but it is not real time travel. So Time Corp takes care of this technology and it provides this technology. And it's advanced human beings and other extraterrestrial beings of benevolent origins who have decided to be like the time police. So that is what Time Corp really is. And they really exist almost in a different dimensional capacity out of our time space. And yet they can physically come into our time space if needed to fix timeline issues and to make sure the Planetary Corporations and other SSP factions do not create any temporal wars and do not attempt to tamper with the aspects of the quantum leap technology only for teleportation purposes, that they don't adjust it for real time travel.
Thank you. That also included the next question about the quantum leap time travel program. Thank you. So we would also like to ask about Ileana's spiritual origins and perhaps find out a bit more about her soul purpose, if possible. So what is her galactic history? What is her star ancestry?
I would like to go back to the time travel aspect, please, for a moment.
Yes.
I think she had a question about devices. What is quantum leap time travel technology itself? I think that was one of her questions.
Yes. What is the quantum leap time travel program? Yeah.
Also the technology. What is the program? We have answered, but the technology, that could be small devices, energetic frequency devices, or larger ones. If you are transporting one human being from Mars to Earth and Earth to Mars, it is a very small device that is on a platform station where you touch it. It's partially metallic with energy source core inside, and it can transport a human body with the soul from planet to planet. If you are transporting many people, the device is much larger, and you need to pre-program how many people are being transported all at once. And they could be from different locations on a planet. But the larger energy field device picks up their energy frequencies and can transport them all at once from different locations, from Earth to Mars and Mars to Earth, returning them back into their proper quantum time field dilation matrix, so to speak, where they maintain their proper age, proper memories, proper anything. This technology has the ability to dampen memory and experiences even. It does not distort experiences, but it dampens how much you remember of these experiences. This is what this technology can do. So, and it's available on these Mars bases. Planetary Corporations has the most access to this technology, but other SSP groups are also gaining access to it. So it's not time travel as you think of it, it's quantum leaping in small time frames and periods, which makes the 60 and back possible. And again, on an energetic scale, somehow it reverses the aging process where you don't feel the impact of doing a 60 and back. It can reverse the biology of the human template where you're not old. That is the technology itself that reverses the aging process as well. Somehow on a cellular level, it has the ability to reverse the impact of energy travel and timeline dilation matrix sequences. That is the best I can answer that question with.
Thank you. So can we move to the spiritual origins, galactic history?
Yes.
What can you tell us about Ileana's galactic history or her star ancestry?
She's Pleiadian race, and these beings have the capacity to embody physical form, or what you would call a Q form, of manipulating energies to either have a human body or to not, to be pure energy. So these beings are 12th dimensional and higher on their frequencies of existence. They have traveled to many planets. They have seeded many planets with life, the L race. They can create physical ships with the abilities they have to manipulate energy and frequencies. So they can make physical things, physical objects with energetics. That is her primarily what her soul component is in terms of galactic family soul origins. Many Pleiadian lifetimes that she has had as what she terms the star traveler. Many human lifetimes. She connects with many different races out of curiosity, out of seeking more knowledge about the universe, about universal creation, about life itself, how to manipulate the human body to be more energetic in frequencies. This is something she still desires in this lifetime. So she has been taught a lot of healing techniques by the L race and on their living world ship. About 5 years ago, she learned many energetic healing techniques and how to incorporate that in healing the physical body and the mental capacities of the emotional energetics. She has been shown how to see the future and the past. That is something the ability has been augmented, both with the Neurolink implants and with the energetics that the L-rays possess. So they've had some calibration or recalibration that they did on her brain to do this.
But regarding this, yes, and that, thank you for sharing that, for shedding a bit of light on the star ancestry, etc. I have a question pertaining to this future, the ability to see the future. Isn't it so that futures are not fixed? They're not mutable, as it's never, as we say, written in stone. Isn't it that futures can vary? Future timelines, future versions, that there is never one singular future outcome. Am I explaining this correctly?
Yes.
Do you understand my question?
I understand what you're saying.
So does she see all possible versions, or is it condensed into a highest probable future version?
She sees several versions, and then she sees the best path timeline of the most convergent one, the best timeline. So she has the ability to assess all best possibilities of the future events and to choose the one that will most likely happen. And to access that and have a look at what that is like. And if she wants, she can choose to manifest that particular future reality. But it is done in a very specific locality of what concerns her, her family, and sometimes other friends or other people close to her. Yeah. Or she can change timelines in the world reality itself. She could choose a different president for the United States. She has already done this in the past to avoid World War III. So she can pick and choose the timelines that best fit the reality that she needs to be in, or that others need to be in. She can pick and choose those realities. She can manipulate time, really. If it's for the best benefit of humanity, she can change a lot of things in time. She always tries to do this benevolently and not hurt people or things or time events. She's very cognizant of the non-interference laws that a lot of her soul family follow as well, to not drastically change anything that could harm others. So she's a stickler for these rules and these laws and following them as best as she can. She doesn't interfere with other people's free will choice. It's not part of her makeup or capability. So she chooses very wisely in how sometimes she's able to manipulate time and space and timelines and what she sees in the future events. It has to be done correctly. Otherwise, there's consequences to all these actions when you work with energy and time travel, future events.
Mm-hmm. Understood. So what other incarnations has she experienced, and how are they affecting the spiritual path that she is on now?
Now, the most important ones are being a geneticist in Atlantean past lifetimes and mermaids. Those are the lifetimes that most affect her. Atlantis was the higher energy calling that she was attached to quite a bit in those lifetimes. So these affect her on the energetic scale of her current lifetime and what she wants to do, capabilities, abilities. She has manifested many of the abilities from those past lifetimes to do with genetics and the mermaid energies and her healing abilities. So it affects her on a profound energetic scale in terms of healing herself and others, gathering knowledge, trying to create the best future timeline outcomes for this planet so that this planet thrives and survives, to become what is called the nexus, to become a nexus in the next couple of 100 years. Because this Earth planet, what you call the event, have you ever heard of the event?
Yes.
The event horizon? That is the
event horizon, yes.
That is the nexus of what this planet is
the nexus
supposed to.
point.
The nexus point of what this planet will be shaped in the next couple of 100 years.
100 years.
Yes, so evolving on the Kardashev scale, that is part of the event for human society, going beyond human wastefulness, beyond pollution, overpopulation, beyond wars. So it's 1,000 years of peace and utopia. This is what she participates in to make this possible, with changing the timelines to achieve this event horizon. It's part of her job as a soul key on this planet, for why the L race put her to have human lifetimes on Earth for, to make this happen. Mm-hmm. There are other soul keys on this planet doing this work that are part of the L race.
Very interesting. The final part of that question is, does she have aspects of herself that she can integrate to assist in her current life?
She has already integrated all the aspects that she needs at this time. So she has multi-dimensional awareness of those aspects that she constantly integrates and already has. So she doesn't need to integrate anything except having more patience with human beings. She is very impatient with humans and their issues, as we would call it.
Oh, this is really kind of funny.
Well, she feels she is beyond human issues, that all of this disclosure business is taking too long to happen. It should be instant, it should be obvious, but holographic medical pods should be instant and obvious. Technology should be instant and obvious, but she has to understand that Planetary Corporations is a force of its own. It's a force of reckoning. It's like a wrecking ball. If you approach it the wrong way, it can bite you, it can harm you. So she knows this, but others have such innocence and do not know any of this. So there's sometimes frustration in trying to explain what this conglomerate corporation can do, and that there is a lot of evil with this corporation on Mars. It has a stronghold and a chokehold on Mars. So this creates frustration for her, and this is what she tries to self-correct with other people and not get too frustrated with the innocence of people. So this is what she tries to work on, those aspects. And that's human nature, really. This is part of her reality, and she tries to work with it the best she can to make it doable and to explain to others what all this is as best as she can in her own words, to help others with this. And she knows that much of it is disinformation about the holographic medical pods, about other things. So it's her patience she really works on right now.
Yeah, it's still kind of cute to hear that out of your mouth, and understanding this about Ileana. It's just really kind of endearing, because yes, humans can be very slow to comprehend, and you know, I also think that perhaps some humans are not supposed to comprehend, or they're not supposed to awaken to these kind of agendas, and because, you know, they are here for a different purpose and a different reason.
That is true, but what Ileana has as higher aspects of herself is the higher self helpers. One is named Janaea and the other is Miara.
Yeah.
We all have higher concepts of our higher selves that are our higher selves. Some of them choose to introduce themselves to humans with a name and a gender that embodies what this human current lifetime is connected to, similar energies, just to make them comfortable. Not all higher selves give names, but some do, and some have one or two higher selves, which is of interest. So
yes.
They are that person's true higher selves, the oversoul of everything that was, is, or will be, is just to make the human comfortable, that they present a name and a gender, but it's the frequency of the soul. It holds a similar frequency, yet they are more advanced and unique because they truly are the higher selves of the person. Mm-hmm. And they speak and interact with us. They help us, guide us on the true path of what our soul missions should be, to sometimes even avoid disasters. If the person is not following intuition or seeking good opportunities, the higher selves can sometimes come in and interact just to give guidance, but they are not guides. They are the true higher self. Mm-hmm. They're not angels. They are higher selves of us. So higher self forms are interesting as well. And this has Ileana curious about those aspects and what her latest findings of this are. And we can say that this does exist and comes in many different forms. Higher selves are much more than what humans think they are.
Yeah, and thank you for highlighting this or introducing this, because in my experience in the quantum healing sessions, where we make the direct connection with what we call higher self, or as I call them, the divine self, I myself personally, I have never experienced a higher self, a divine self, having a gender or a name. They speak about themselves in we. They address the physical, the vessel that they are connected to in third person. So this was new for me, to be introduced to higher self aspects or representations of higher self that have a gender and a name. This is very fascinating to me.
Well, the soul of an Ileana does not accept simple we or I or just the I am. She seeks a higher form representation. So that is why her higher selves present with a name, a gender, and a rank, to make it easier for her to understand the aspects of those higher selves, which is her higher selves. Some people accept we easily, or I. She does not. She does not accept those pronouns at all. She always seeks clarity, organization, and order in the beings she meets. All of them must present with a name, a gender, and a rank. Even if they don't want to reveal their names, she wants to know their true soul self. So for her, it is comfortable that her higher selves must present with that information. Other people don't need to know that information, so the higher selves don't give a name or a gender. It's more about comfort and familiarity. So, but the higher selves can have a gender and a name if that's what makes the person feel comfortable with them.
Yes.
So it's just about frequency and communication.
Sure. Understood. Thank you. As a perhaps final question, could you give us some guidance on something more of a spiritual development that Ileana will have during this particular lifetime?
Well, to not think of material things and decoration so much, to enjoy the energy aspect of what she experiences in life. She loves decorating, she loves color, she loves vibrancy, she likes to physically manifest creation into reality. She has a lot of plans and goals on how to do this. Again, she needs to be more patient in realizing those concepts. Right now, they're in the manifestation energy phases of her reality. Eventually, she will do what she wants, but she needs more patience in not wanting things materialistically right now in the now. This comes later. This is all about energy and frequency and planning. This is where these stages are of creation for what she wants to make. So more patience is needed with that, spiritual patience, because when you manifest, it comes in the forms of energies, ideas first, a visual board, if you will. And then it manifests into the physicality when the time is right. So this is still taking time to do, and she needs to have more patience with this process.
That's funny. That seems to be one of the highlights throughout the session, is that Ileana is still learning to be perhaps to deal with the human parts of her human. Patience is a very human trait, and this is also something that many humans have issues with.
No, she was never supposed to have this lifetime as this human incarnation. She chose to deviate from the Q lifetime to divert into this human incarnation, to do what she needed to do on this planet of Earth, to retrieve the person who is one of her soulmates, or even close to a twin flame even. So this has been a diversion, rerouting of a soul coming into a human body, when this was never the plan, never the original plan of the soul to do this. But since she is in a human body, she has impatience issues, because she was used to manifesting things as me, as Jara, instantly into reality. Whatever I wanted, I could have within the non-interference laws, of course. No harm, cause no evil. Do not interfere with other people, but I could manifest things as I wanted instantly. Ileana works at manifesting things instantly as well, but she must understand that with material things, this may take time, as there are other people involved in her life who have a say in her plans and when this happens. So that is a deep life lesson that she is learning. And she's used to being energy and used to instant manifestation and creation. So this is about mind calibration and just mind attunement and patience.
Okay, very nice. That was very entertaining. Thank you. That was a very insightful session. I hope that this is going to help Ileana, as this was specifically on her at her request, as you are very much aware of. I have one final question, just out of let's say professional curiosity, and that is that usually in general the two people brought together in a quantum session usually have karmic, akashic connections. Could you shed some light on any interconnectedness that exists between my soul and Ileana's soul? Why was this orchestrated between the two of us?
For you to learn about the higher self aspects of how they present, to go beyond just we and I, that there is intelligence of I am, that higher self presentation can include names and genders, just to make this a more of a learning experience for you as well, and learning about higher self energetics, higher self connection, and to expand your own teaching abilities and to be able to explain higher self teaching. You would like to teach about the higher self. You would like to make courses about the higher self so people can understand what the higher self is. So this was a teaching learning opportunity for you and Ileana, that her higher self aspects orchestrated for you and her to connect. Janaea and Miara really enjoy when people learn about the souls, the higher self, the differences, the similarities, the compatibilities. So what have you been wanting to do about teaching of the higher self to others? What are your plans for this?
This is still very much in its early stages.
Mm-hmm.
I am incubating different subjects and different workshops, for the development of different psychic abilities as an extension of what we call channeling. I was told, why is that funny?
Well, Ileana is in the process of creating workshops and teaching tools for the same things.
Oh, well, there you go. So I know that during the summer, this will be revealed to me by my own spirit team, by my divine self. And I am very excited about this unfolding. So that's about the extent to it at this very moment. It was very funny this came up. My question actually alluded more to if there is any information on whether we have met before in a physical form. I have no in Atlantis, not even.
No, you were meant to meet now through the connections of Janaea and Miara. Because for you, learning about the higher selves is your own soul expansion and illumination process. Mm-hmm. This will be part of your teachings about what the aspects of the higher soul are. And in terms of that, the higher soul can manifest in meeting and greeting in whichever form the human being is comfortable with. It could be genderless, it could be nameless, or it could be an introduction with a name and a gender as what the person feels comfortable with. And some people want to know everything about their higher self or selves, just everything. And Ileana also always wants to know all about them. So they like to teach and talk. And they're not her guides, not her spiritual team even, not other extraterrestrials, not councils, specifically the higher soul aspects.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for elaborating on that. It was a beautiful, expansive experience. I'm very grateful that this was manifested for the two of us in this now moment, and I thank you. Jara, you may recede. We were honored with your presence. Thank you.
Yes, and she's wondering if I'm a higher aspect of her higher soul, and I'm not. I'm a past life self, is what has come in this session, just to answer that question for her. Janaea and Miara are the higher self aspects. I am just a past lifetime aspect.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We thank you for your presence. And I would like for Jara to recede, to go back to the time and place and space that is her own.
Yes.
And I would like now to connect back to Ileana.
Well, that was really interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah. I remember a lot about the higher self-talk, something about higher selves and learning lessons and teaching lessons.
Yes.
And something about arrangements.
Very interesting.
So it'll be interesting to listen back to this and see what was going on. Because I remember certain bits and pieces, again, something about the higher self being so important in this session.
Yeah, apparently. Very interesting, their perspective and what she shared in the person of Jara. What was interesting is that, so we basically allowed for the whole interface was done via your past life personality, physicality as Jara. So she came forward and I was guided to go with that and not call on your higher self aspects. That is also very interesting for me. I always follow that guidance. I'm hoping that perhaps in a near future we can get together and perhaps expand on this, and I can have a direct communication to some of your higher self aspects. But it was not part of this particular session, but we had all of your questions. Every single question was answered in depth, very clearly. There's a lot of information, lots of very, yes, like specific, particular biological, chemical, technical information that I'm sure you're gonna enjoy immensely. Very much the type of information that you reveal, that you share on your YouTube channel and in your whatever social media communications.
So can I ask a question? So I guess Jara came in because some of those aspects, I think, were accessed through that particular lifetime by Planetary Corporations through her. So she was the one to come in to provide the answers. My higher selves are like helpers. They don't really give me access to that particular information. They're more as guides in this, well, they guide me in this lifetime. They're not like spiritual guides, but they guide, they give guidance to how to live this life correctly. So I think, because last time in the QHHT, there was not a name given of them. It was just information coming in. Yeah. So, and I think this was created by them for you and I to meet. Yeah. So it was facilitated by them, but a past life aspect coming in to give the information, perhaps.
Yeah, because she sort of bridges, not to say the gap, but like because she has these energetic connections to all of those particular imprints of you, the geneticist, the engineer, the everything that is part of you as your full oversoul, yeah, all of your monad. She sort of bridged all that, yeah. So so using the induction technique that I do, the person or the entity that comes forward as the visitor to the pyramid is the most appropriate person to facilitate the session. That's why we go. So she was the most appropriate
being to come in.
Being to do this, yeah, today. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Reading Dolores Cannon's work, because I learned that in hypnosis, it could be the higher selves, it could be past life aspects, it could be even this soul personality in the current body that answers things or does things. So I'm just open-minded in whoever comes in. I don't put restrictions with the mind of who comes in.
No.
Because that's letting go. The true, because I do hypnosis with other people, not in this method, but slightly different one. But I just allow whoever comes in to come in, whether the higher self or past lives, or even them currently explaining as what they need to explain from a deep subconscious level, because that serves them the best in that particular session.
Yeah.
I don't really divert. If it's the higher self that shows up, I don't divert it into somebody else showing up. because I don't control the session.
No, of course not. Neither do I. So
exactly.
that kind of answered again your question. So it was perfectly orchestrated. I don't divert from that either. It's not, I am just the guide,
exactly.
I'm not here to, to conduct this session.
Exactly.
We navigate what is being presented.
Yeah, exactly.
And yes, and because your session was already not really following, let's say, the normal protocol, because you said, look, I want a specific quantum healing, QHHT type session for all of those questions. So that's basically what we did. Because of course, also my own form of quantum healing is slightly different.
Yes.
Like I already hinted about, but then you're so very special. I don't think any of the normal things have.
Well, no, I did the normal things in the first QHHT.
In the first, yeah, exactly. You've already done those.
That was 3 hours condensed. We were able to do it in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I had like 32, 52 questions. So that was all answered in terms of family, health, why I'm here on Earth, who I've been abducted with. That was already answered.
Yes, I understand.
I think the SSP stuff is the soul healing that I still needed to get done. And this is soul healing.
Good.
So it's the final aspect of what this soul needs is closure and healing. So you and Jara were able to help me with that. Yeah, so it's
I hope so. That was the intention. It was very interesting, very a lot to learn for me too. There was a lot of terminology and very fascinating, like totally.
I think Jara said that this whole soul has been involved in a lot of different things and aspects of trying things too. So it's about experience, trying, learning, working with it.
Yes, absolutely.
So
very exciting, very beautiful, absolute next level biology, quantum, I don't know, the whole sort of nanotechnology. I mean, seriously, next level. Like,
I guess the soul has experienced medical things, technology things, as it did in Atlantis, it did in this lifetime as well. Sometimes we need to learn from what we did before so that doesn't happen again in similar sequence. So it's soul expansion, it's soul learning.
Very, very true. That's a very good perspective to have on it.
Yeah. And I think you're going to be teaching something soon that Jara mentioned you're going to be teaching.
Yeah, very interesting about the workings and the characteristics of the human soul, of what the higher self, what we call higher self. Well, so that was very interesting.
Well, I mean, the soul and the higher soul or higher self are connected. There's two aspects of them. That's took me so long to learn. And I still sometimes can't describe it in words easily. It takes time to describe and teach these concepts.
Yes, very true.
So I think it was those two organized this for us to kind of explore that aspect.
Yes, definitely. I know that I will be teaching a number of new things. I teach people how to channel. And so through channel, of course, the stream of channel allows for so much other things to come in. So that's sort of the platform, that's the interface through which you can teach. So people first need to learn how to channel, how to go in and out of channel, smoothly. And then every year I'm teaching different groups, more advanced levels of also types of psychic surgery, but mostly for the body, for the physical body.
Mm.
the organic stuff,
Yeah.
different things, how to see auras, how to work with aura, how to
Yes.
how to recalibrate energies, and we use channel as an interface to do that. So that's kind of,
yeah, I naturally do channeling. It's part of the ability.
yeah.
I don't know how to teach others channeling. It just happens. And I've experienced during channeling, higher self comes in sometimes.
Yeah.
People who have passed on, people, a form of the person themselves come in from this lifetime. They're still alive, but a portion of them sometimes comes in through the channeling. In private sessions, I do channeling a lot in private sessions. It's just that,
yes,
it's so amazing. Extraterrestrials can come in, humans, as long as the vibration is protected and the frequency is held,
yes,
like you don't let it possess you. So
exactly.
I am a neutral observer on this side, but if I feel the frequency is bad or something negative tries to come in, I won't let it come in as the channel to this vessel. I just won't let it.
Of course.
It's
and that's of course part of the teaching. The protocol that I use, that was given to me by my divine self, is the safeguard for for that particular issue that you mentioned.
Yeah, well, it has to be pure.
Yes, we only work with light. It's only pure. So there is no contamination. There's no negative spirits or entities beings that can come in.
Well, sometimes what comes in really tries to teach the person to work with the shadow self, to work out the problems that they experience, but that's not a negative thing. That's like, I'm trying to guide you on your path and give you some advice. And sometimes the beings do that, but I try to tell them, like, just be slow and gentle with this person. If they're not ready for it, you can't just dump it on them and expect them to do it just slowly. So sometimes even I, as the vessel, will interact with the being that comes in, just to psychically, like, slow down, please, because you're going too fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
And thank you for a beautiful session.
Bye.
Bye.